afternoon, GRAR Nation. I'm Dale Stuckey, and we're here with your next segment of 3 on 3. It's from the Safety Task Force. Since NAR's Realtor Safety Month is September, we decided to do this one now. So again, my name is Dale Stuckey. I've been in the business for 32 years. Back in 2016, when I was the president, we decided to start this safety task force. It's been going strong ever since. Wayne's been on it with me since the beginning, as has Bev. All three of you have been committee chairpersons. So let's go ahead and get started. And Wayne, if you want to introduce yourself,
Sure.
And we'll go around.
Wayne Wu with Key Realty. As Dale said, I've been with the committee or the task force since 2016. A lot of good work in that time. A lot of good people to work. So we've done some good work.
Thank you for your time.
I'm Bev Boerman, 5 Star Real Estate. I've been in business 39 years, and I've been on the committee since the beginning in 2016.
Great. Brandon?
And I'm Brandon Faber. I'm with RE/MAX of Grand Rapids, 4th year in business and 3rd year on the task force. And I've been lucky enough to serve alongside some people who really are concerned about our fellow agents, so we're excited to...
So we'll start out with number one. What are some of the safety risks or vulnerabilities we face as real estate agents? Brandon, I'm going to ask you that because I like that comment you made just before we started, that we're doing everything that your parents told you not to do.
Exactly. When you think about it, previously, like before I got in the business, you would travel in the same car, sometimes with little known people. You would enter a stranger's home, you'd call or door knock. So it's a lot of it, should have a cause for concern until you do the right kind of vetting of people. So it is, we're doing things that we were told not to do as kids. So it should feel a little different, and it's not a bad thing if we feel a little concerned at first until we do the proper processes, until we fully get to know the new buyer or seller, especially listing appointment. Usually you're going by yourself into somebody's home. You don't know what the home looks like unless you had some previous photos to look at. But walking into those scenarios, there's a lot of vulnerability there that, I think in general, we're going to cover some processes today. But, basically, what I try to do as much as I can is get them on the phone as quickly as possible to kind of, you can tell a lot. And I've learned a lot from Wayne with your previous background of reading tonation, and then once you get to be in person, of their body language, kind of some keywords that they're really focusing on, and if this is somebody I really want to go meet at a house or go into their home, right, to kind of get started with the process, kind of feeling them out and asking them their reasons why they would want to meet you, or what's their reason for calling, how'd you get my information. Those are all perfectly good questions to ask, because you are volunteering yourself to go meet with this person, whether it be at your office, hopefully for a buyer consultation, or going to their home for a listing appointment.
So are you doing any kind of background checks on them?
So to be consistent, we do have a tool, Forewarn. So if they're volunteering and asking me to, possibly do business with them, of course, I'm going to look up their phone number on Forewarn. If anything is triggered on there where it might not be a good situation. I've had it before where I just had to let go because I wasn't fully comfortable with some of the items that were brought up. So it is definitely a huge tool that I use quite often.
Right. Any of you guys have anything else to add in regards to that? Driver's license, do you ask for ahead of time, or?
Yeah, I think just good vetting, whether it's asking for a copy of the person's identification, asking for a pre-approval letter or proof of funds. I think those things, and then the follow through, talking with the lender. They're all good things for vetting clients. But Brandon brings up one of the items that we have that's the huge dynamic is the interpersonal piece, trying to figure out who we're dealing with. What their background is, what their intent is, and that all comes as things that we have to do as agents and good business people for not only making sure we're safe, but making sure we're not wasting our precious time. Some other things that as agents that we get ourselves involved with that I don't think we necessarily think about all the time is, we're handling some confidential information from our clients. How do we store that information? So that's a risk for us.
Yeah.
How are we getting from point A to point B? We're doing a lot of driving, and are we taking proper precautions and making sure we have enough time to get from point A to point B? Wearing safety belts, things like that. Because I think, from the standpoint of how we're going to get injured, we're probably going to get injured in a car accident before we're victimized, right? So having that as a precaution as well, making sure you're wearing your seatbelt and paying attention to your environment as a whole, both driving and when you get to your location.
I think one of the things that I got from you, Wayne, years ago was your gut, right?
Yep.
If your gut's telling you something,
Yeah.
it's probably right. And there's been a few times that I've had something and I had that weird feeling. I had no reason to have the weird feeling, but if you have the weird feeling, bring somebody with you, go that extra mile, ask for more information that you normally would, just be safe.
Go ahead, Bev, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to add that, especially for a listing appointment, after you've checked for warrant and done all your normal vetting, there's nothing wrong with taking someone with you, on that appointment. And also to have somebody that knows where you are and what your schedule's been. So mine's always in my Google Calendar as to what addresses and stuff. And so my daughter can, easily get in there. But I used to have a real estate partner, especially if I was going in a vacant house. I'd call and say, hey, I don't know this person. I'm going to go in the house. If you haven't heard from me in 15 minutes, or can you call in 15 minutes? And the code will be, yeah, I can't meet for lunch right now, but I'll meet you, in a half hour or something. And that would be that everything's okay. But we'd have another code like something's wrong, or if I didn't pick up, she would know something's wrong.
Right.
So
That brings up a good point. Early on, I didn't want to take anybody with me because I
Right.
felt like it meant I wasn't smart enough or I needed this person. Now it's like, no, that guy's not the new guy. You don't have to say you're the new guy and he's the one here watching you. You can say, I'm training him.
Right.
Right? So just don't be ashamed to
don't
take
be
anybody
afraid to
with
take
you.
someone else.
That's always a good thing to do. Bev, I'm going to give you this next one. What should agents do to protect themselves before new meetings, meeting the new client, while showing the homes, and during open houses?
Well, I'm going to approach this as it's a buyer. So it's a new buyer. First of all, I'd want to know, how did they get my name? Are they calling from an ad? A lot of my business is repeat and referral. So, I say, well, did someone refer you? And then I kind of know who it was and what that connection is. But I always try to meet them at first at the office. I know that's been kind of drilled into everybody. Try not to just run right out to the house when you don't know who this person is. I do always ask for pre-approval letters up front. You can ask for driver's license. I admit, I've been around a long time. We didn't used to do that. It's hard for me to ask for a driver's license, but anything that somebody could figure out where you are and who that person is that you're with. So, but while I'm at the house, I almost always take the key in with me and lock the door. I don't want anybody else coming in. I don't want another realtor coming in. I don't want somebody just walking by the house. And I started doing that during the foreclosure period because people would just mill around outside and try to get in. And I've often been at showing appointments where I'm done with my buyer and we're leaving, and then someone's in the driveway. Well, will you quick show me? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, you need to call the listing agent. Because first of all, if my buyer's interested, why would I want to show somebody else? But secondly, I don't know who that person is. And I've more than once been in the driveway where another realtor's there, and it's like, oh, my client's not here yet, I'll take you in. And there's been no vetting there.
Or even the fact that the agent wants you to leave it unlocked. Back before COVID, I was like a little bit upset that they wouldn't leave that unlocked for me. And
Right.
I got thinking, you know what? he doesn't know who I am. There's 3,000 agents here. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Let him lock it back up, and then you let yourself in, because then that tags that the key box has been opened, and we can see that. So I struggled with that at the beginning, but definitely see the benefits in that.
That's another one I try to put on my listing card, and you would think that that would be common practice, but often I know Wayne, he's showing up right after me. I know he's a realtor, so I give him the key. That's not a good idea. I should put the key back in the key box, lock it up, let Wayne open it. Then the listing agent knows who's been there, when they open it, when they close it. So those protect the realtor and the sellers both.
I've been seeing that more often though, Bev, than the handoff. I've been to, especially in the market we're just coming off of, where you have, a line of 3 or
You've
4
line of
people
people
waiting to get
there.
in, and the agent coming out who has, it's been listed well as an exclusive listing or exclusive showing, and they'll say, well, let me put the key back in, and I'm like, perfect.
Perfect.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
you need to do, because it doesn't take long to unlock it, and you have that tracing. It's not just about knowing the person coming behind you, but unfortunately, we have some of our peers who go into houses and they don't treat the houses very well, or their clients don't. So the accountability piece with leaving the property as you found it is a big thing there, and being able to track when these things happen. So,
Well, and our key boxes have that you can notify your seller of everybody that keeps going in. And if you didn't jump in, they may think, oh, Wayne didn't show the house yet.
Yeah.
So it's always good. I go back and look at that to see who's checked
Who was
in.
there,
So
yeah.
it's very helpful to do that.
Yeah, I know another part of that question was, what could you do for safety during open houses? And I've noticed this a lot lately as I've taken my client to an open house, that there's 2 agents running the open house. One's on the front porch, and, instead of a sign-in book inside the door, they're like, would you please text me your name and number? Well, if you're trying to capture additional information to possibly, pick up buyers, you're getting a real phone number that way. But then, so right away, you've got good contact information, and then there's someone else inside monitoring the house. And they don't let more than a certain number in at the same time. You'd have to figure that out. Are you allowing 1 group or 3 groups or whatever? But it's not the madhouse where, anybody that shows up just starts wandering through the house. You can't keep an eye on everybody, and you can't monitor whether all the windows get closed or opened, or what's happening.
Yeah, and you can always ask a mortgage person to come with you.
Yeah, I've seen that
what
quite a
I've done
bit
in the
too.
past. It's like, I'm there for 2 hours. I'm gonna sit here and pick his brain if it's slow, but it's just that extra person to have with you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Good idea.
Do you guys have anything to add on that, protecting themselves during showings, listings, buyers, any of that? You get it all?
The only thing I would like to add is, you touched on an important part for the open house is checking, locks before, during, and after of windows, just to make sure, and doors, also exit doors, make sure, we've all seen the emails come through that somebody wants to get in afterwards and it's a vacant house and this, that, and the other thing. They're going to leave a window unlocked and get in the home. But, also, like, once I unlock the door, most of the time I try to remember to knock or ring the doorbell first.
Yeah.
And then just announce that, say, hello, realtor, showing, and just announce my presence. Because, you just sent over, somebody was sleeping in the vacant house. So
that was a realtor in my office, and you think you're going to a vacant house, you maybe don't do your normal hello realtor kind of thing, and he did, but he walked into someone that was a distant relative that knew the house was vacant, and so decided just to kind of crash there for a couple nights, and the owner didn't even know, and then suddenly you're walking in on someone sleeping in the middle of the living room floor. What are you going to do now? So,
or what's their mindset as
Yeah.
to what you're doing?
yeah,
So
and maybe
start
they
with
don't
somebody
really
that
know
knows
that
to
a
get
realtor would be coming through. So,
yeah, Brandon makes a very good point. Give a good knock and announcement before you even try the door. and then after you get it unlocked and you get the door open, give a holler inside, and wait a little bit of time, because if somebody's up in the bathroom, it's going to take them a little bit of time to get downstairs or get to a place where they can holler at you and say, hey, somebody's in here. So.
And if it's tenants, they don't always get informed by the landlord either. And with, people having concealed carry or guns in the kitchen cupboard, I always kind of worry about that, is do they know I'm coming? And, luckily we haven't had any real issues that way locally, but.
You all make a point to be the first one in the door rather than your buyers, correct?
I make it a point that I'm the one that'll make initial contact at the threshold and make announcements and step through the threshold first. But after that, then usually my buyers, if it's a buyer situation, they're going through the house ahead of me. Yep.
Yeah.
Which is on another subject, during showings and open houses, I never go in the basement for an open house. If somebody asks me to go down there, no thanks, I'll stand on the stairs. I'll check it out once you're out of the home. But also, like, Wayne mentioned during our meetings, is always leaving yourself an exit strategy, especially if it's somebody, it's the first couple times you're out, they might act a little different the first time they're out, to kind of break that kind of wall that we should have up, but, not backing yourself into a corner and leaving yourself an out is a big thing. And the showing starts before you get there. So you notice your surroundings. Okay, nobody's parked beside me. There's this person sitting in this car, kind of, spanning the area, kind of getting aware of your surroundings, because you're, especially, for the 8 months we have winter around here where it's dark very, very quickly. You want to be able to get used to that if you can, especially if you're walking around the outside, and, don't have your earbuds in while you're doing all of that either, just taking away one of that senses that you have to help make yourself more aware, because, things happen quickly. And, also, when you're done with the appointment, try to have your next destination on your phone before you get in your car. I use an app called Placemaker, where I have everything laid out, and then I can just hit the next button and it goes into my app, or my Maps app on my phone. But then getting in your car, locking the door, my car, when I unlock it, it lights up the whole thing, but maybe somebody's might not. So just kind of doing a quick check at the back seat, and then locking the door once I get inside too. It's especially, we're getting messages while we're at these showings that something's always on fire, right? And as soon as we get in our car, we're looking down on our phone, and we're extremely vulnerable at that point.
Yeah, I think it's important to remind your sellers as well. Put your valuables away. I know back a while ago, meds was the big thing, right? Yeah. And I actually, when we had one that was coming around quite often that we were talking about, I came in, I'm chit-chatting with him, and, he's like, hey, can I use the bathroom? And as soon as he said that, it clicked into my mind, and it was like, I just blurted out, no. It was like, it startled him as well. But tell your sellers, put valuables away, don't have anything laying around, and for the meds especially, get them out of the
and jewelry.
Cupboards.
Women are bad about leaving jewelry out.
Yep. Yeah, because they're going to come back and then blame it on you. It's like, man, I told you to put it away. So.
Well, something Brandon mentioned triggered something for me too. Till I was on this committee, I never thought about where I parked my car. And now I almost always park in the road. I don't want to be parked in the driveway and get blocked in so I can't leave if there's a reason that I need to leave quickly. So, especially in the winter, you don't want to be tromping through snow and everything. You park as close as you can to the house. But now I always try to park out on the street. And like you said, kind of look around, make sure you got an exit plan.
All right, we'll move on to the third and final question. Does GRAR have any tools or resources to assist agents in remaining safe? Are there other resources, text classes, or tools that you would recommend? Wayne, I want to start with you on that.
Well, we've done a few things. First, we have a agent safety resource page on the website that has a number of different websites, articles that you can refer to, best practice papers that the committee has, or the task force has done over the years with how to conduct business in a safe fashion. I think probably the one that has had the greatest use and adoption has been forewarned. That's been a really great tool for us, and the proper use of it. It's not, obviously it's not for trying to find business. It's for trying to verify the business that you have already. So we're checking our callers that want to go see a house before we go show it. We're trying to vet folks that way to see, what potential red flags do we need to be concerned with? Do we go with this individual? Do we take special precautions with this individual? And again, remember that the forewarn system is kind of an approximation. It's not a 100% guarantee that if someone doesn't pop up on forewarn, that means they are totally clear, or if somebody does pop up on forewarn, that they are a threat. Just take, each individual is an individual, and you have to treat the situation appropriately with proper care. So,
Are you still doing the wear safe?
we have Wear Safe. It's I don't say it's a funny story, but Wear Safe changed their business model, and they went from kind of an inexpensive.
That was our tickler rate that we got at the beginning to
Right,
tie us
and
in.
So a couple things happened. First, our smartphones have obviously gotten smarter, and most people now have not only a smartphone, but they have a smartwatch with them. And I think they were finding that the tag was a little bit redundant as an appliance to activate the Wear Safe. So you can still buy the tag, but it's a much higher cost than what we had initially. And I don't think you're getting that. Obviously we don't have as an association that introductory rate any longer. Their rate scale went up slightly. It's still an inexpensive venture, but they have you pay on an annual basis now, or if monthly, at a higher rate. They do sync a lot of their notification system in with smartphones and smartwatches, and they've branched out to business solutions as well, not just individual, real estate or elder or vulnerable adult care. They're also in the market of salespeople accountability as well. So
you're saying, though, I think we've lightly touched on this in one of our task force meetings, that our Google phones or our iPhones have somewhat of that feature that we can work with?
Yeah, so both Apple and Android have, those are things that are on the resource page as well. They have the ability with certain button pressing or keystrokes that are not overly undue, that you can alert a select number of individuals that you identify ahead of time. It's a system you have to set up ahead of time, though.
Very similar to Wear Safe, and you already have that product, so you
Right.
should be going to that page and following those instructions to get those set up on your phone if you're not doing Wear Safe.
Right. The important thing is to have an accountability plan in place, like Bev indicated. She has her calendar accessible. When she had a partner knew where she was, and she had to make a call at a certain time. So whether you're going with a second individual, which is highly recommended, or you're going solo, making sure you have somebody out there who says, if Bev or Brandon don't contact me or arrive at location A at a certain time, then I'm going to be reaching out to figure out what's going on with them. So,
And
Anything else on resources that you guys can think of?
just to piggyback on top of that, I know for Apple anyway, they have the air tags, I think they're called, where it's like almost exact location. We tried them out on our kids. So in case we go into these big spaces, we have them clipped onto them. And sure enough, my youngest, it fell off and somebody picked it up and it just led my wife right over to him.
that's great.
So really pretty inexpensive, and you can put it right underneath your case and then somebody knows where you are at all times.
Yeah.
A different side of the tech is, we've touched on this quite a bit during our meetings, is social media, who you portray. We are very public, right? I mean, our names, our phone numbers, it's very easy to access us because we want people to access our information, right? So who you are portraying out in the tech world of social media, watch out what you're attracting, right? Watch out what you're time stamping, and I'm here doing this. Like we all know, hey, I'm going on vacation next week is not probably a post that any of us do anymore that make public, right? We're just opening ourselves up for it. I think on the tech side, also have some common sense there too of what we're portraying out to the public and how much information we're really giving.
Well, how much we're
people.
letting them into our personal lives. Right?
Yep.
Also, the image that we're portraying as well, and unfortunately that includes how we're dressing,
Right.
The types of clothes we're wearing, what topics we're talking about, because that blending. There's the school of thought that you try to make your business personal or personable, but where do we draw that line so that you have some privacy and you don't have people who are targeting you to victimize you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that is one of the things that we've worked on last year with best practices. Well, what do you put on your internet page, or what things should you consider in developing that social media presence? Mm-hmm. So, I think the biggest thing though is our single biggest weapon against victimization is your level of awareness.
Yeah.
You should really be thinking about where you're at, who you're with, what you're doing, how you're doing it, where is your attention, because that not only allows you to anticipate sometimes things before they get bad, like Dale indicated at the onset of our talk. He would have a gut feeling and he wouldn't be able to figure out. He didn't know what it was, but when you have the gut feeling, that's not time to figure out why am I having this gut feeling. The gut feeling is react and then go back later and try to figure out why you had the gut feeling, right? So, and that's something that we need to make sure we cultivate as an industry is making sure we're aware.
And have the exit plan, if once you get into a place, always be prepared on all safety aspects.
Yep.
All right. I think that concludes it. I will ask our nation, seeing that September is Safety Month, to just step it up. Somehow, some way, just step up your safety, whichever way you see fit. But I think that could just help us a little bit. Forewarn's a good thing. If you don't have it, find out how you can get it. Do something with your cell phone. Start asking those extra questions just to feel comfortable. And don't be afraid to take somebody with you on any appointment. Open houses, listing appointments, buyer showings, new agents, experienced agents. I mean, if somebody came to me and said, hey, I don't feel comfortable, can you come with me? You know what? I'm there. Let's go. So I think you got to give your fellow realtors credit that if they thought there was something up, they would definitely go with you. So keep that in mind. Again, thank you for watching this segment of 3 on 3, and we'll see you next month.